Okay, is there a prosecutor maybe on this one?
Who's this, Justin?
Gregory Renfro? This one's Daniel Boyd. You filed a motion a long time ago. See, I don't even know the facts right now, but I'm looking at this and something doesn't smell right at all in all of this.
I didn't see him on my docket, but I guess it's.
Something doesn't seem right at all here.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion to revoke
Okay.
probation that was filed on October 2023, over 2 years ago. Was the defendant an absconder? Anybody?
I don't know, Judge. This was not on my docket. I'm trying to look and see.
It's added late yesterday, but
That's because
I know that, but I've done this long enough. Something is not right here. I'm just looking at it for the first time, and a motion was filed over 2 years ago. He's on regular probation for all things evading detention with a motor vehicle. And something tells me that he had absconded for 2 years and had been on the lam. But can somebody figure, there had to be a warrant issued for his arrest on or about October of 2023, over 2 years ago. And it looks like this is some
Information shows he was arrested December 16th, Judge, so he would
of
have had
what?
of
What year?
2025, so he would have had to been an absconding.
I gotta just quick get it.
Yeah, well, that's not good. If that's true, I'm gonna let you out.
Well,
Why would anybody in their right mind do that? If he had compassion, I got compassion. What he doesn't have is rule following. He was on regular probation. He had been convicted for, of all things, evading detention. So we filed a motion, so he evaded answering to the motion for over 2 years. So they caught him somehow, and now he wants to get let out.
I don't know how the circumstances of him going into custody or
Well,
whether he,
why wouldn't you know that? You're representing him.
I haven't had an opportunity to.
Well, I've just pulled
I mean,
the
we
file
can
and looked
listen.
at it, and I think I can. This is simple enough to figure out. This is just math.
Why didn't you report? Did you not
It-
report for that time period?
Wait. You're going to ask him things. Raise your right hand because you're under oath. You solemnly swear or affirm any statements that you make during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, subject to perjury. So help you God.
Yes, sir.
Lower your hand. Go ahead.
Mr. Renfro, there appears to be a period of time where a motion to revoke probation was filed, and then around 2 years elapsed before you were taken into custody. Were you reporting during that 2 years for the security disposition?
I'm reporting it first, Mr. Harmon, Gary Harmon.
Yes, sir.
Who's the probation officer on this one who can answer for this? Because he's saying some things, and I'd like the probation office to tell me what is accurate, because I don't rely on this. I'm not going to rely on him. Anybody? Somebody's got to be here.
It's not on the document, that's why nobody.
Oh, we got pulled at the last minute.
Yeah, he did
He files a motion just yesterday.
Because of the street,
Place on today's docket.
because of this mother's funeral. I mean, I'm not, you only have one mother in this world, and when she dies.
You're telling, what are you preaching to me
I'm not
for,
preaching,
sir?
I'm just saying that's my reasoning is trying, I understand that I'm trying to put in the district attorney's office and perhaps everybody at a disadvantage doing this at the last minute. But the exigent circumstances that
Okay.
we only have, I mean, to try to go to this mom's funeral.
I consider rhetorical language. Just tell me what the facts are. That's all I need. You don't have to tell us all we only have one mother.
Well, I'm saying as far as my reason to try to accommodate Mr.
I know, but-
irrespective of.
But think of this, what you're going to have to answer is the question of, number one, he's on evading. Number two, he absconded for 2 years.
Well, that's what I'm sorry.
And you can interrupt, I guess, all day long like you have done historically, and we're not going to get anything.
Let's attempt to explore the reason.
Can we just speak one at a time?
Yes.
You know that the court reporter can't take both of us speaking over each other, please. So that's what needs to be answered, is not that his poor mother passed away. My God, my mother is very ill. So I'm not non-sympathetic, but what I have is looking at the circumstances here. He's on probation. We placed him on probation. He pleaded guilty and he was convicted for evading arrest or detention. That is fleeing. Then for 2 years, he fled from probation and he had been an absconder for 2 years.
That's what I was attempting to explore.
Can I finish by, this was a solo I was performing. Let me just conclude it. So he absconds, and when was he arrested?
December of 2025.
All right, just last month. So just last month, he was finally arrested after 2 years and over 26 months of evading responsibility. So you can see the concerns this course has. What in the world can I possibly have as a guarantee that he could be released and come back? No, he started off this case. He got in trouble for evading and running from the police when he was supposed to stop. Number two, for 2 years and 26 months, he's been evading and fleeing his responsibilities. We caught him last month, and now you're asking for him to be released on his own word that he will report back. You can see where that's going to be a tall mountain to climb. Go ahead, you may speak.
What were you doing the last 26 months between the time the MTRP was filed and the
I was enrolled at Lamar State College Port Arthur
You
for
weren't reporting as ordered by the court.
my probation officer, Mr. Gary Harmon. He had retired. And then him transitioned to somebody else and never let me know a new day. Mr. Harmon informed me to not come up there and report. Was able to take me to jail. We said, keep reporting over the phone. That's what I was doing. Now I went to college. I done started a business on my own. It wasn't just running. I've been doing productive things.
You stayed at the residence you've been at since you were on probation.
Yes, sir.
Stayed at that girl.
Yes, sir.
Was any attempt, was any
Please,
No,
hold
sir.
on. Gator Harmon, where is he?
you retired?
I know, but is he still in the Beaumont area?
No, he's in Houston, sir.
Okay.
You were,
I
I
don't
know
know.
my terms on my probation.
If you think I'm going to take your word without substantiate, you won't. You're going to lose every time with me on your facts.
Just
You cannot be trusted by your history, criminal history. You cannot be.
not procedure.
Go ahead.
If the court were to see fit to allow you to be released from jail, either by posting a bond or having means, what guarantees could you provide to the court that you would return to custody after having your membership? How can you assure the court that you would return to custody once you obtained your membership?
what do you mean by that?
Well, how are you going to represent to the judge that you're going to go back into custody after you attend your membership if he lets you out?
Yes, I definitely will.
You want to get this straightened out?
Yes, sir.
Where and no.
Yes, sir.
You didn't leave the state or attempt to
I didn't
go
go
anywhere.
anywhere. Yes, sir. My probation officer told me to try to pay all my fees off and then turn myself in. What I've been trying to do. I never smoked to.
Are you through? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me tell you what Gator Harmon actually said. On September 14th, 2023, that caused this motion to revoke for 2 years. When you have been AWOL for 2 years. On September 14th, 2023, the defendant failed to report to the criminal district court as summoned. So there we go. You didn't report to the court as you were summoned to do. You failed to report to the probation office for a scheduled visit, alleging medical issues. At this time, the defendant has not produced any medical documentation concerning his absence. The defendant has not made any effort to address his delinquent court-assessed fees since February of 2023, as ordered by the court. It is therefore requested that a motion to revoke probation be filed. He recommended it, The man you're saying was letting you do all of this. He recommended and urged the motion to revoke probation. It was filed and a warrant had been issued for your arrest, and we finally caught you after 2 years.
I missed court because I had COVID. I sent my form in to some later, Miss Ellie. I sent to Mr. Harmon. He received both of them.
Failed to report, asked him to produce medical issues, medical documentation concerning his absence, never did. And here you are, after 2 years, we finally caught him. Anything else?
I just asked for the court to exercise some compassion and allow me to attend the funeral of his mother. Obviously, if he doesn't report back, then that would not bode well for the court's disposition of the MTRP in any sense.
It's not going to, no, we've got him right now. We've got him. It's what has been done doesn't bode well for his disposition, but we're not letting him go on my watch. Now that we caught him after 2 years.
Well, I don't know that he was taking active measures to obey, Your Honor.
He was taking active measures not to report as
And
required.
I don't think that he was.
If you don't report, you're not on probation. And what's good for you is good for the other 5,000 probationers. If you can just scamper off and decide when you want to report or what terms you want to set for yourself, it's good for every 5,000. That's what's fair. We're not going to treat you differently. You're supposed to matriculate into the group. That the first thing you do is the first order. You must report as required. Otherwise, you're not on probation. You're on your own probation, which isn't the way it works. What does the state have to say?
Judge, as compassionate as I am and would like for him to attend, it's just,
Yeah, nobody thinks this is, I feel sorry for the family, but not you. I mean, this is, you can't not be trusted.
if it was years ago, we used to do a furlough where they would get a furlough, but they would have to pay a deputy sheriff to escort them from the jail. They would have to pay for his time to escort him there, stay for the funeral, and come back and pay for his salary. And that was the only way we would do it back when they had a conviction like this.
How did you get arrested?
Coming from work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Traffic stuff.
Yes, sir.
That warrant was only out for 2 years.
I didn't even know about it.
I don't care what it's not what you know or what you say you didn't know. The fact is, it had been issued for good reason. And you, for whatever reason, they had not been able to catch you until 2 years later. But we're certainly not in a position to let you go free. Not under what you're charged with in the first place, which was deceptive. And now with you were convicted, sentenced to 10 years, right? Yeah. Sentenced to 5 years in prison, probated for 10 years. So you were convicted. And then your statement about Mr. Harmon is
Your Honor.
completely different for what Mr. Harmon submits in this administrative report that caused the motion to revoke probation. And I don't see anything in the file that states him asking to refute or to withdraw his statements or this motion that he asked to be filed. And without anything else, sir, I'm not granting the relief.
I was just going to add, Your Honor, if the court was looking for some assurance that he would attend a subsequent hearing, then obviously if he misses his granted bond and post bond and he willfully fails to appear at the next court setting, there's a bond jumping statute that will be filed, and that will be one level above what he's on. This what the case is, which will be a second degree. So he would expose himself to 2 to 20 years incarceration if he didn't. Versus just the 5 that he's exposed to now.
Stay asking.
I don't have an objection to a bond being set, Judge, but we'd have a GPS monitor on him, so we'd know where he is.
And of course, if he doesn't appear to the setting.
Hold on. What is this what we do? We're going to open this door right now after 20 years here. We're going to open this door and say that he is allowed on his own, on his good word, which he has defied twice?
I'm just saying, like the court asked what incentive or what assurance the court would have that he reappears, it would be his exposure to 20 years in the
Well, that was what he was exposed. He was exposed to criminality,
Only five.
additional criminal sanctions in the first place. That didn't deter him.
He would be exposing himself to an additional,
So
it
the
would be a
state is saying,
consecutive sentence to five.
are you stating you have no objection to releasing him under this?
Not saying just releasing Judge, but under
Sir?
certain conditions.
What conditions?
Well, my first suggestion, I think, was always the best way to do it, which was they make arrangements with the sheriff's office to have a deputy take him out of jail and take him to the funeral and bring him back. That's the way you know that he's still in custody.
There is no way he's going to pay for that.
Just
The family would, Your Honor. I don't know if the sheriff's department still does this.
Well.
I don't think they do that.
Well, why don't you figure that out?
the only other way.
I'm not going to.
Oh,
I want you to,
they don't do that.
sir, I don't think they do. Okay, so let's say they don't, then what?
Close to what he
If they don't do it, what does the state say?
have a bond and GPS. And set it next week for a disposition. You got a short reset. I mean, it's a failure to report. It shouldn't be too hard. Or having played true to it now and set it for sentence.
What difference would that make? He would abscond and abscond.
Well,
If he absconds, that pleading true doesn't make a bit of difference.
if he absconds, he's
I mean-
exposing himself to a 20-year consecutive sentence on top of just the 5.
That, this sort of stuff has happened. This is the situation that's happened before. When has that ever been done?
It's not bond jumping.
Where it's been filed like that?
Not very often.
You can't even recall it. And
I think Steve Vedder was the last one.
all right, if there's no objection to from the state, then yeah, okay. He's allowed release.
From how much of a bond?
Well, do you have any money to pay for a bond?
Yes, my family does.
How much?
I'm gonna say I haven't talked to anybody today or yesterday.
Well, it's third-degree felony. He was looking at 10 years in prison in this.
5, you know.
So $5,000 bond. He
Yeah.
says have a
GPS.
GPS device as a condition of bond. And he has to report back. He has to report back immediately after the
funeral.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand? But if you don't, I want to put this on the record too, that if you don't, and something goes amiss here, you don't make this your next court date, they're represented there and file a jumping case with your exposure to 20 years consecutive to this. All right, you understand?
In this courtroom hearing, a judge quickly notices that something about the case doesn't add up. The defendant, Daniel Boyd, had been placed on probation for evading detention with a motor vehicle. But when the judge reviews the file, he realizes that a motion to revoke Boyd's probation was filed more than 2 years ago, and Boyd had been missing ever since, according to the records. Boyd failed to report to his probation officer and ignored court requirements for over 26 months before, finally being arrested. Now, standing before the court, he asks his judge for compassion so he can attend his mother's funeral, promising that he will return afterward. The judge listens carefully but remains skeptical, pointing out Boyd's long history of avoiding responsibility. After questioning the facts and reviewing the probation report, the judge makes it clear that trust is the biggest issue in this case. In the end, the court agrees to release Boyd on a $5,000 bond with GPS monitoring, warning him that if he fails to return to court, he could face even more serious charges and up to 20 additional years in prison.